what is a higher order function? Higher order function is a function which takes another function as input. Okay, so let's take this as a higher order function, higher order function. So what it does, it takes another function as input, and produces or returns a function. Okay, so this is said to be a higher order function, whichever takes a function as input and returns function as output. So what is the goal of the higher order function? The goal of higher order function is to either add some behavior or modify the original function. So original function will not be modified, in a sense it is modified by extending some functionality to it. Okay, so original function body, whatever the function that we defined, that won't be actually, that will be intact. So the produced output, whatever the function it returns, that will be a modified function. Okay, modified function of the original function we return. So this is used extensively in frameworks like a Django. Okay, so and Flask, other frameworks extensively. So how this works in Python. So let me define a function. Let's say an example. Okay, greeting. Okay, let me define greet. Okay, and so message print hello. Okay, and then I'm just printing here format of message. Okay, so if I print a greet, run this thing. So oh yeah, it's working, right? Yeah, so we know this one. So I want to greet some person. Okay, so in such a case, I have a greet function which performs actual greeting. So I wanted to add some, more to it, actually a person name. So in such a case, what I can define greet, okay, Peter. Okay, so and greet function, I'm taking this as input. Okay, so I'm returning another function. Okay, so let's define a function greet. So it will actually call greet this function and add a person name Peter at the end. Okay, so instead of calling greet, what I can here, this greet Peter is a higher order function. Why? Why is it higher order function? Because it is taking yes, it is extending a functionality of input function we are passing. Okay, and returning another function. I have to return that function, right? Isn't it? Return greet p. Okay, which is a, sorry, I am not, I should not call here. I should return just a function reference. Okay, so returning a function. So here you can see here, to call that function, here what we do, okay, it returns a function, yeah, greet, okay, message. It is a function, right? It is a function output. So greet Peter of, I have greet, yeah, greet function here, right? Isn't it? Okay, so just yeah, we have to pass that argument. So just to make it actually simple, just I will remove the message here. Okay, so we can actually discuss how we pass arguments and all. So hello, welcome. Okay, and I'm passing this greet function. Do you get it? This is a greet. Okay, this greet function I'm passing, and if I call this thing here, greet message, okay, just comment this thing or remove this. Python 3. Yeah, so again, we should return here instead of printing. Okay, so because of since we are printing, this greet function returns none, so we are getting that error. And now we are not printing this here. Whatever we get here, print that, so we see the output. And you see this, well, hello, welcome, Peter, right? Okay, so how is it working here? How is it working? I have this higher order function, and that is taking a function as input, and it is extending. It is greet function just provides a greeting, but I'm extending. I wanted to add a name. So I don't want, I can simply actually come here and put here name here. Okay. Just name. Okay. But I don't want to modify original function because I may want it to use I may use that function, original functions, for some other purposes. Okay, just for greet. For that reason, this is a generic greet function, so I don't want to actually disturb this by adding a name here. Okay, so I may use it for different purposes, but for my requirement I need a person name to be appended, so I use the higher order function. What it does, it takes a function as input and returns that modified function. You see this one, this is a modified function. So by extending the original function with a some pepper and salt, so like we are adding a Peter name, and this function, this greet message, we can verify this thing. The greet message is actually this greet p function. Okay, so as we call this one, okay, this code is getting executed. We can actually put print statement here, greet p. Okay, and if I run this thing, you see this one, greet p, this is getting executed. Okay, after this function is getting executed, and then there's some name is being added here. Okay, so how this thing is useful, what are decorators in Python? Okay, so mm, mm, mm. The parameter, this is this function I'm passing. Yeah, this is a name of the higher order function. Great. Yeah, yeah. This is a just a I can pass anything. Okay, this is a parameter. This can be any function. I can define. This is just a variable here. Greet func. Okay, greet function. So this can be. I can have another greet function. Okay, greet. Okay, uh, leave. Okay, so return thanks for visiting. Okay, I can have another here greet leave. Okay, greet to equal to greet Peter, and then here I give greet leave. Okay, so in such a case, this is a what I'm passing is a greet leave, this second function. This is generic a parameter. Okay, so you know that for arguments, so this is a positional argument. Okay, that's referring to whatever is it is receiving as a first argument. Okay, that can be anything we are passing. Okay, so that same thing I'm using inside a nested function. Okay, now if I actually print greet 2. Okay, okay, I'm just print some dashes. Now execute it to separate. You see this one, so both times, this is getting executed. The first time, the greet, this function we actually pass, so that we got the hello welcome Peter, and second time you see thanks for visiting Peter. Okay, got it. Okay, so in a Python, decorators in Python, we are having a syntax to easily uh, yeah, call higher order functions. So what are decorators? Decorators in Python is a simple and elegant syntax offered by Python to call higher order functions. So same thing, how can I actually do this thing? Instead of doing this thing here, okay, so what I can do, simply at the rate greet Peter, okay, and then define greet, okay, first visit. Okay, and now return hello. This is thanks for visiting us. Sarah, thanks for taking your time to come here. Something, okay? And so now if I simply call, you see the magic here. So what does it mean? Okay, it means that after this function is defined, okay, the first this function will be defined. After this function is defined, okay, it will be executed. Greet. So which means that this syntax means what? This syntax means greet visit first time equal to greet Peter of greet. This is what it means. Do you get it? Okay, so after the first, this function will be defined. After this function is defined, this statement is executed implicitly. Okay, so now if I run this thing, if I execute this thing, print off greet first time visit. Okay, this is hello, this is your first visit, and then okay, if I run this thing, simply execute this thing, use Oh, I haven't called this, right? Yeah, I have to call that one. Yeah. And you see this magically what is happening here. Hello, this is your first visit and Peter. Yes, every time I call. How it is working, this is a higher order function. The Python, decorators in Python is an elegant way uh, to actually define higher order functions, for a calling higher order functions. So at the time of definition only, we can provide this decorator. So what happens, this greet Peter will receive this function after the definition of this function. Okay, and then this reference to this function will be replaced by, okay, will be replaced by the return value or a return function produced by the greet Peter function or a greet Peter higher order function. Do you get it? So to actually demonstrate that even better, so let me comment out this whole thing. Okay, and then this is a greet Peter, right? I'm just okay, uh, decorator being called. Okay, so I won't even call this thing, just a function definition. Okay, so without calling a function, nothing should happen, right? Nowhere I'm calling a function. Do you get it? Okay, if I remove this grid Peter, nothing happens. Check this thing. No, nowhere we are calling a function. You see, I have executed a function. So nowhere I'm executing. No, nowhere I'm calling a function. So, but I placed a decorator here. So what it means that it is a elegant way. Decorators in Python is a elegant way or a simple syntax for a calling higher order functions. So this higher order function, greet Peter is a higher order function. So we are up by placing a decorator, what we are doing. So which means that, okay, what does it mean? Again, greet. Okay, so for suppose decorator at the rate of a define b. Okay, so pass, what does it mean? It means that b equal to a of b. Do you get it? Okay, remember that. Okay, so the same thing is happening, greet first visit equal to greet Peter of greet first visit, so that this greet first visit is replaced by the whatever the function that is returned by greet Peter. So that after the definition of this function, okay, so I can actually put some print statement defining greet first visit. Okay, and if I call this thing, you see this one, this of course defining greet first visit, this won't be executed. Why? Because okay, function definition, at the time of function definition, body is not executed, function body. Okay, so when you call that one only, this function body is executed. Do you get it? So just to demonstrate that, we place this greet first visit, this body is not being executed because this is not getting called. Then what is getting called? You see this higher order function, see, decorator being called. So I can put some here argument format greet func. Okay, so to demonstrate, so now if I actually run this thing again, you can see a function greet first visit. So with the argument function greet first visit, this higher order function is being called. Got it? Yeah, if I can use that decorator. Now I have another function. This is just an example we are following. Okay, uh, greet. Okay, uh, leaving. Okay, so return thanks visit us again. Okay, so now if I run this thing, so since I haven't placed a decorator here, this is not getting called. Okay, so if I place a decorator greet Peter, okay, and if I execute this again, You see this one, this higher order function is getting called twice. Okay, so what are we actually, what how this decorator is helping us? Okay, I don't have to do this thing manually afterwards. Okay, whatever this statement, I'm actually calling a higher order function and taking whatever it returns into a variable. I don't have to do that. So it is actually a simple and elegant way to define a function. Okay, so by using with the decorator itself. So, beauty is that you can put many decorators as you want. Okay. Okay. So that you can actually append many decorators. So as you want. So here, as you can see here, so this decorator, the hello first visit, and thanks for visiting again. These two are getting called, first time. So you have asked the what is a greet function. Okay, you see this is just a parameter which takes the first argument. The here first time when it is called first argument, that argument was a function greet first visit, and second time when it is called, okay, this parameter is referring to greet leaving. Okay, so if I call this, okay, now I simply call greet print greet first visit. Okay, and if I run this thing, okay, you see I'll just remove this. Okay, you see hello, this is your first visit, and first visit Peter, at the end. Okay, if I call print greet leaving, okay, if I run this thing, we made some mistake. Okay, Python 3. Yeah, you see this one. Okay, greet leaving, which also appended Peter. Okay, so we'll see how we can actually, yeah, yeah. uh, we don't, so we can actually pass arguments to decorators. Okay, the where greet Peter is not taking argument. Okay, so I can make this greet Peter. Okay, uh by actually it can actually take, we can make this one receive arguments. Okay, parameters. Okay, so for suppose I can have a, you see, just let me write another one. Okay, define a greet person. Okay, a name. Okay, which returns define a greet p. Okay, function. Okay, func return So say this one. So instead of at the rate greet person, I can actually give person name. Okay. So just Peter Tony. Okay. Define greet. Okay. I'm just okay. So return. What are we actually returning? Welcome to Avenger. Okay. So now if I call this person, print of greet him, and say this. If I run this thing, there is creepy line number 22. Yeah. Uh, yeah. I have to return greet here. Yes. Okay. You see this one? Is it working? Yes, it is working. Hmm? So how is it working here? So I just used two nested functions. Okay. Where if you can see here, the first greet person, which is which is a which is just a function which takes any argument. Okay. And then which returns actual higher order function. Got it? The greet person is a higher order function. Greet wrap is also a higher order function. So greet person takes the person name and returns higher order function. And this higher order function, which is a greet wrap, is a higher order function. So this greet Peter, greet person is replaced with a greet wrap. Okay, and greet wrap. So this is greet wrap. Think of it as a greet wrap. Okay, it is replaced with greet wrap, and this is a thread. Which means that a equal to. You see this one at the rate a define b, which means that b equal to a of b. So likewise, okay. So greet him equal to greet person of greet him. Okay. So that greet him is received as an argument here. Okay, and then this wrap function is returning the greet function, which is actually greet him is replaced with a greet function here. Okay, so to actually understand that, we can put in statement here greet wrap. Okay, and format of fuck. And if I execute this again, you can see that where yeah, you can see this thing here, greet wrap function greet him. Do you see this one? Right? So which is this is getting executed during the definition only. Immediately after greet him function is defined, it will be called like a equal to b of a. So it will be greet him equal to greet person of greet him is called, and then this is getting executed, and then the greet him is replaced with a greet. Okay, so and like I said, so that is how actually you can pass arguments, and you can even pass arguments to greet him actually. Also, you know, if this function is receiving any argument, of course this function will receive argument. Okay, resulting function. Okay, so now let's do another one, decorators. Yes. So let's see another example here. Okay, so which is about using how to use multiple, you know, using multiple decorators. Okay, I'm not using here now. I'm not using any constructive example. I'm just using A and B. Okay, define A. Okay, so which is a decorator. Func it retrieves. Okay, print A. Okay, format of func. The same thing. Let's copy and I want to define another thing B. So both are higher order functions. Okay. And to show you how it works, of course, we have to return that. Since it is a higher order function, it should return a function, right? Isn't it? Define wrap. What is wrap actually? I'm using that wrap means, you know, wrapper, just like a chocolate wrapper, you know, a chocolate wrapper wraps around the chocolate. So here the naming by as a naming convention, you know, this is a wrap function which wraps around the original function, so that we tend to use wrap. Okay, so original function. Okay, this is a higher order function. Original function is func. Okay, this wrap is actually wrapping around the original function. Got it? Return func and plus. Okay, I'm doing some A, and we have to return wrap. The same thing here for the B. Okay, so now at the rate A, at the rate B. Okay, define greet me, return hello. Okay, so if I call this thing, I just don't have to call anything. I use these two decorators. Okay, uh so if I run this thing, check Python space. So how is it working here? So the order in which they are executed, can you see? The first, which is what is getting executed, it is from bottom to up. Okay, the first, this whole thing is executed. Okay, do you understand? From bottom to up. Okay, the first thing, first function is defined, and then after the function is defined, you know, the you know, lowest most decorator is executed. Okay, which you can see here. Okay, and then top decorator is executed. Likewise, you can go if I put C here, so how the order would be: first a C and second B and second A. Can you see the order in which they are executed? First B is executed, then A is executed. Okay, just remove this thing. So how it works? So since first B is executed, B will be added first, and then A is added. Can you see? Just greet me. Call this thing and print what is written. And can you see hello BA? Can you see it? Okay. So why? The first, the order in which these decorators are executed, first function is defined. Okay. Then decorator A is executed, and the on a resulting function decorator, sorry, on a resulting function, on a function, first function is defined, and defined function B is executed, and a resulting function A is executed. Okay. So how this is used on Django? Okay, So Django and others. Okay, so just I'm using how decorators are used. You can see here. So where is actually, so in a Django, just I'm using how these decorators are used. Uh, just see how let's learn decorators by applied decorators. How these are decorators are used. Here a required HTTP methods is a decorator. So where Django providing some decorators at the module. Django is a package, okay, a framework, and it has a views package and decorators package and HTTP module, okay, and it has a function defined required HTTP methods. So what is happening? So we are actually defining a view with a decorator required HTTP methods. You can see we also actually have seen some example so where passing arguments to the decorator. You can see here the greet person. I'm taking a person name here. Instead of a name, I can take any Python object which can be a list or anything. So here it is taking a get and post some methods to be allowed. So what happens? HTTP, if you know HTTP protocol, okay, so HTTP is application layer protocol which has some methods. Okay, these are all different methods on HTTP that HTTP protocol uses. So HTTP protocol is application layer protocol which has a header and body. So header and body is separated by slash or slash and two new lines. Okay, and then headers contains a descriptive information. So where header line contains a request line contains a request and the a protocol. Okay, so version. So the on the web, as we are browsing, the whole internet is working on top of HTTP protocol. So how HTTP protocol works? Okay, the browser, you see this one, it sends a HTTP request, and so HTTP request, browser sends the HTTP request. You can see, and server responds with the HTTP response. Okay, so that is how the so request server acts. Server HTTP server is a server. It is a request client server architecture. So it works on top of TCP. So in this application layer protocol, okay, you can see there are different methods such as get, head, post, put, delete, and connection options, trace, patch. And these different methods are used for different purposes. And basically, I can see here if I go to inspect, okay, let's go here. Okay, if I go to, let's say, some site, and if I click on inspect, and if I go to the network, if I reload, I can see all network calls are taking place. Okay, so and here I can see method also. You can see HTTP method get. What get is used? Get is used to retrieve data from server. Okay, so for suppose it is retrieving this, if I can preview, this is retrieving this whole document from the server. Okay, and you can see headers here. So and if I see request headers, view source, these are raw headers, which is here it is called method. This is called request line, which contains a method as well as HTTP version. Okay, so what is happens, there are these many methods are there. Okay, so here in Django decorator, I don't want my view to be called on other methods. I want to actually restrict this to just the get and post methods. So in such a case, I can use the decorator. So this is a since required HTTP methods is a higher order function that will conditionally call my view function. Okay, only if the method is either get or post. Okay, so this is an example. Likewise, a lot of decorators are there here. Okay, so and also there is a Django REST framework. Some decorators are there, okay, that are defined with the Django REST framework. You can see here, and there are, you see, Can you see some decorators in action? API view. Okay, I want just to have a general a function. I want to make it as a view. Okay, view means in a either in a Django is based on model view template or model MVC, model view controller, which is actually model view template architecture. So which means that there are different components: model view and controller. Model defines the data and view defines what is displayed, and the controller defines the actions. Okay, so it controls so the model contains a data. So we don't for the time, so we are this what is main motive here. So how decorators are applied. Okay, so we're not discussing about a Django or a Django REST framework. So here view means view is just a general function which returns a response to the HTTP request. Okay, so I want to make this as a view. In such a case, I just use the API view as a decorator, and I can pass API view with some parameters so that it will respond to get and post methods only. Okay, likewise, there are so many decorators. I want to protect my view with some authentication, username and password. So I have authentication classes. Okay, likewise, decorators are used during the definition only. So you can see here, just a while ago we have seen A and B, and the chain of decorators you can see here. The one is a schema, another one is a API view. Okay, so that is how decorators are used. And so for suppose how where post method is used, where get method is used, that is about, you know, the how HTTP protocol works. Get method is used to retrieve the data. Post method and put method is used to send data, put some data on the server. Okay, delete method is used to delete the content and patch. And trace options is to get the options. It doesn't actually carry any data to server or back to the back from server in a response. So of course we're not discussing here, since we're not discussing HTTP. So the goal is how these decorators are applied, you know, how these decorators are used. They are, if you are writing a library for yourself in your project, and you may actually see decorators handy. Okay, so where you can take the function that is written by a user and modify that and return back, okay, a modified function. So I hope it is clear, and so and don't have any queries on a decorators, where you can see what we have seen so far. What are decorators? Decorators is a syntax in Python to call a syntax offered by Python to call higher order functions in an elegant manner. So and so you can not only create a decorators using another thing, using functions. You can also make an object as a higher order function decorator, higher order function. Okay, so far we have seen the creating a higher order function, okay, and calling using it as a decorator. But we can see instead of this a decorator, instead of function being a decorator, we can also make object as decorator, since all it needs to do is actually take a function as input and produce function as output. So in such a case, we can use something called a call magic method on a object. Okay, so we can see this later. So how we can write a higher order function or decorator by using a class.